Hi, I'm Debbie Harbeck, and I'm a certified life coach working with women in midlife and through the menopause transition. So each week, I'll be sharing the latest information, inspiration, and generate some momentum so you can move forward and feel more in control of your changing midlife body and your life. Let's go. Hi, and welcome back to the podcast, and Happy New Year. I am so thrilled that you're joining me today, especially if you're joining me on the day that this episode airs, because it is January 1st, 2025. And it's a transition into a brand new year. And you know, on this podcast, I talk a lot about transitions, and this is a big one. This is starting a brand new year. And so I thought this is the perfect day to talk about something that really does have the power to transform your intentions into reality. I'm not talking about resolutions here. I'm talking about your intentions, your dreams, what you want to get out of your life. And so what I really want to talk about today is creating a vision board. This is one of my favorite tools. I've been using them for years. They help you get clear on what you want in life. So I've been using them to really think about the things that I want to get out of my life. And then they kind of set the stage for making it happen when you use them every day. So I'm going to be going through it step by step today, and I just invite you to work alongside me in spirit. So grab a coffee, a tea, or whatever helps you settle in, and let's dive into how you can create a vision board that's not just beautiful, but also deeply meaningful and effective for what you want. So let's start with the very basics. What is a vision board? I think a lot of us have never made one before. We don't really know what it is. So it very simply, it's a collage of images and words and symbols that can represent your goals, your dreams, and your aspirations, very simply. So think of it as a visual roadmap to the life you're working towards. And here's the thing, it's not just arts and crafts, because that can be a very fun part of it. But studies have actually shown that visualizing helps prime your brain for action, and it increases the likelihood of achieving your goals. And it doesn't even have to be a physical board, although I actually prefer a physical board, but it can be built online, like through an app called Canva, if you're familiar with that. Or I've done one actually on PowerPoint, and I added music to it. It's really totally up to you on how you want to create this board. Now, I know you might be thinking, isn't this a little woo-woo? And I get it. I used to think the same way. How can looking at a board actually help me get to where I want to go? But I shared with you in episode 68 when I talked about manifesting what you truly want. And a vision board can really make that happen for you. So I've been creating them for years now, as I mentioned. And let me tell you, I know they work. As I shared in that episode I just mentioned, my vision of traveling with my daughters and of renovating my kitchen actually manifested this past year. Those things were on my vision board for not just last year, honestly. They've been on my vision board for a while, but they actually showed up in ways I didn't even predict. And previous to those things happening, vision boards have helped me launch my coaching business and connect with my creativity, because sometimes I don't think I'm the most creative person in the world, but I am. We all are. And they even help shift my mindset when I'm having a hard day or a hard week or month even. And what I love about creating vision boards is that it can also be done in a group. You don't have to do this by yourself. You can actually get a group of friends together and do this. And when my kids were little, I actually did this with them. And kids are so good at this because they're really great at dreaming. So they're usually more at ease with this than we are at first. So if you're ready, let's make this process actionable, personal, and most importantly, I think it's to make it fun. So let's do this step by step, as I love to break everything down into steps. Step one is to reflect on the past year. So before you even start your board, just take a moment to reflect on what has happened this year. What were your wins? What didn't go as planned? And what lessons did you learn? And what will you do differently this year? So these are 4 really good questions you can ask yourself. And I would say grab a journal. And I love always having a brand new journal at the beginning of the year, something I love to do. And I know I'm not alone. and start jotting down the thoughts and the answers to these questions. So what were your wins? What didn't go as planned? What lessons did you learn? And what will you do differently this year? Think about all the areas of your life here too. So think about your health, your home, your relationships, your career, personal growth, and your spirituality. It's important to think of all the areas of your life so that you don't leave anything out, because they are all connected. And this will help you identify what you want to take forward with you in your life. Like some great things happened surely in this past year or in past years that you want to bring forward. And there's some things that you don't want to bring forward with you. And you can be really intentional with that in the vision board. So I'll give you an example. So last year, I set an intention to prioritize my health during perimenopause. I'm still in perimenopause, but I was having trouble with my sleep. My body has been achy. So I really wanted to address these things in this past year. So that led me to actually making swimming a big important part of my routine, which really feels good for my body. And it actually helps me sleep. I know that's been helpful. But what also has helped me is that I ended up visiting a specialist in menopause right here in Montreal, the yearWhat clinic, which actually I had Marie-Josée Bourassa, so she's the founder of the yearWhat clinic. She was on the podcast in episode 58. So as a result, I've added progesterone and estrogen hormone supplements to my daily routine, and I've actually been sleeping a lot better in the past couple of months now. But one of the lessons I learned this past year is I need to think bigger. I can be very limited in how I think about things, and I realize I hold myself back a lot of the time. So this year I'll be adding in words to my vision board because I love to add just single words. I like to have a word of the year and some other words maybe that can complement that. But for me, expansive is a word that will show up on my vision board, and boundless. I love these words. They feel free. Freedom is another one. So these are important words for me to have on my vision board. So now that you've reflected, we can go on to what is your vision, and let's get clear on the vision. It's really good here to close your eyes and just imagine yourself at the end of this year. So December 31st, 2025. What does your ideal day look like? How do you feel? Who are you with? What are you celebrating? And think about all the different areas of your life. So here are some prompts you can use. So with your journal, you can use these prompts to help you. So if you're thinking about your health, use a prompt like, what does feeling your best look like? What does that look like to you? How does that feel to you? Is it more energy? Is it less stress? Or is it hitting a fitness milestone? Think about that. Or if you're thinking about your career or your creative pursuits, think about what projects or accomplishments will light you up. That's a really good thing to consider, that you do something that really feels good to you. And in your personal life, you can think of, what kind of relationships do I want to nurture? Is it certain friendships or relationships within your family? And maybe what relationships need to change, or what relationships you might need to put an end to even. So these are really key questions. This is your vision, and it's meant to inspire and motivate you. It's not about sitting here and rationalizing if you could do this or what's possible based on what you've done in the past. It's time to let your mind wander and actually get excited about your life. This is what we want. We want to feel excited about what's coming. So this is the time to head to step 3 and gather your materials. To me, this is a total fun part. I love school supplies and office supplies and those kind of things. So here's what you are going to need. You can get a physical board, so like a cork board or a poster board, or you can use a platform like Canva, which I mentioned earlier, or even PowerPoint, something you're comfortable with. And then if you're doing a physical thing, you can get some magazines, some printed images, or you can go to Pinterest boards and look for pictures and quotes and words that resonate with your vision. Because I love the idea of quotes. Actually, I was just watching something on TV with Rick Hansen who you will know if you're in middle age and you're Canadian, you probably know of Rick Hansen, who was the man in motion in the 1980s. He went around the world in his wheelchair raising money for spinal cord research. And he had a quote during this show, which is, "My best work is in front of me, not behind me." I love that. And that will also show up on my vision board this year. So quotes that resonate with you. Here, I'll continue the list. You also will need scissors and glue and push pins or tape, and also maybe some markers and stickers or other embellishments, other things you would like to personalize it for yourself. Now, once you have all these things gathered, it's important to set aside time, because this is the thing we don't do enough of, but actually set aside dedicated time to do this. Maybe an hour, maybe 2, and even set up your environment for it. So light a candle, play some music, and just kind of make it a ritual, make it this beautiful event. It's not about creating something pretty. This is not what we're really trying to get out of it. What we're really trying to get out of this is to connect with our dreams on a much deeper level, to really think about what we want, to be intentional about it for this year. The 4th step is to assemble your board. So you just start arranging images and words on the board. You can group them by themes if you want, like you can have health and relationships and career, or you can just let it kind of flow intuitively. You can decide. You are the creator here. Trust your instincts. As you place each image or word, just take a moment to reflect why it's important to you. And this is a good point where you can decide, why is this important? What is the story? What is the idea behind these words or this image? And then visualize yourself living that reality. Just feel, it's not just seeing the image in your mind, it's feeling the feelings that go with that. Feel the excitement or the joy or the peace that brings to you. So for example, on my board last year, I had an image of a woman confidently speaking on stage. That represented my goal of growing my coaching practice to speak to more women and to even speak in public at events. So seeing that daily kind of kept me motivated. And guess what? I have just booked my first event. So, these things, if we really put them in our minds and have a vision board to help anchor them there, we can actually make these things a reality. The 5th step is to display your board. So once your vision board is complete and you feel like this is it, put it somewhere you'll see it regularly. And by this is it, I don't mean you don't change it through the year. You can. And I have, removed things or added things through the year when I felt it needed to be done. And just find a place for it. So it can be in your bedroom, in your office, or even as your phone or desktop wallpaper if it's digital. The key is to keep your vision front and center. And just don't look at it passively. It's easy to just forget that it's there, but have some sort of routine around it to engage with it. So spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself achieving these goals. Again, feel the feelings. And use it as a tool to remind yourself of why, when things get challenging around you. Why am I doing these things? Well, because this is my vision. So it just helps to bring you back to that, because it's so easy to forget these things, right? When we get into our daily routine, it's easy to forget what our vision is. So daily connection with that. And then the 6th and final step would be to take inspired action. So a vision board is a very powerful tool, but it is not magic, of course. That's maybe what you think is the woo-woo, but there's no real woo-woo there. It's just keeping it in your mind, but it's not magic. You still need to pair your vision with action. So break down your goals into manageable steps and start by taking them one by one. You've heard me say this so often because it's such a big part of the process I use personally and I use with my clients, is to break things down into simple steps. When you do that, you see what's possible and you even see that it can be easy. It's not at all about rushing forward and forgetting the life you have and just jumping into this new life. That's not how it works. It's really about small changes, small actionable steps that you can take every day that will lead you to your results. It's like when you invest money. You put a little bit in every month and the results grow and compound over time. The other thing to not forget as you do this is to celebrate your progress along the way. Even if you don't make it to the big vision, what are the things you did this year that helped you get there, that moved you forward? Celebrate those things. It is not about perfection. It's not even about necessarily getting to the final goal in this time period. It's just about being able to move forward, step into it. For sure, like every other year, 2025 is going to throw you some curveballs. I can pretty much guarantee it. But when you ground yourself in the vision of what you want and you take those small actions every day, you will be stronger, more resilient, and more focused to be able to handle those things as they come along. That's what I'm giving you today to start the year. This is your guide to creating a vision for 2025. And I hope that this inspires you to dream boldly, to be maybe expansive like I'm going to be this year, and take steps towards a life that you really, really want, because that's what I want for you too. And if you do make a vision board, I would love to see it. So please share it on social media. You can tag me at Debbie Harbeck on Instagram. And if you need more support on making that vision reality, that's what I do as a coach. So book some time with me early in the new year here, or drop me an email, whatever works best for you, and let's talk about it. Let's get you moving forward. So I just want to thank you so much for joining me today on this very first day of the year. And don't forget to subscribe, to leave a review, to share this episode with someone who can use a little inspiration. And I think pretty much all of us can. I want to wish you a year of health, of happiness, of fulfillment. And until next week, I want you to keep moving forward, and bye for now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Midlife Momentum Podcast. If you want to learn more about working with me, come visit me at DebbieHarbeckCoaching.com. That's Debbie, I-E, Harbeck with a C, coaching.com. See you next week.